We have a lot of people moving into Florida every single year. And if you moved in recently, then you've been blessed with not having to witness these toxic algae blooms. But what you would witness if you had to encounter them, you would not be able to stand the stench of that.
An algae crisis threatening our treasure coast.
A cycle of despair and disgust amidst promises made and broken.
Billions of gallons of water are rushing from Lake Okeechobee to our coastline.
How much pollution is too much? How much danger is too much? How much before this will stop? And I don't mean that just barely, I mean that literally. If the water around me were filled with this, as it has been in the past, to the point that this water is green, the algae blooms are as thick as guacamole, literally, where birds can walk on top of the algae blooms, where fish are suspended in the algae blooms because they're that thick, you would not be able to breathe that coming in here. And it is actually toxic to you to ingest by breathing it in. You would come away later in the day with that exuding from your pores. You'd smell it when you got in the shower later. You'd feel it being washed off yourself later in the night. It gets into you that much. It's that disgusting. It gets onto your boats. It gets onto your docks. You don't want to go out into the waterways. You certainly don't want to eat a fish. And it also results in killing the forage fish that other levels of our ecosystem need to thrive and survive. It also kills off the seagrass that our manatee eat in our waters here, and that results in manatee deaths as well.
This is not a normal kind of situation. What we want, we see the river is too turbid, too stirred up, too much fresh water for too long a period.
When you think of the river and our issues, think of them in short term and long term. Short term is the discharges that come on us. The long term is the stuff that washes down with the discharges. Things that come from Lake Okeechobee, all the sediment.
And it's stressful on oysters and seagrass beds and the habitats that are there, and of course all the animals and things that depend on the estuary.
Even though we're not getting discharges, the wind and the boat wakes stir that up. So if you go to the inlets now, we still have dirty water going out.
And we've had local rainfall, which has caused basin runoff in the estuary area. So with that, the freshwater conditions are persisting for quite a duration here. Now, if we were to have discharges from Lake Okeechobee on top of that, it would just add to it and make it even longer, that the freshwater would be over the oyster reefs and seagrass beds, which would be really detrimental to the system.
Without getting any discharge or very low volumes of discharges, then our seagrasses can recover. And once we start getting recovery, it starts building. If we can keep that going year after year after year, the long-term idea is to get zero discharges. I mean, that's what Biomass is fighting for right now, is zero discharges.
Year after year, we do these Tortured Coast videos where we talk about the way the Treasure Coast is tortured by waters being dumped out of Lake Okeechobee, usually filled with blue-green algae blooms and nutrients. But this year, we haven't actually been that tortured. And that's by design, because year after year, we've been working to put policies in place that make it so the Treasure Coast get less and less and less discharges, hopefully to the point that eventually we see no water coming out of Lake Okeechobee into our beautiful estuary.
We want the water to go south, the way nature intended it for Lake Okeechobee water to overflow to the south and go south through the Everglades very slowly to reach Florida Bay.
Back in 2019, I wrote a law at the federal level saying, hey, this management plan for Lake Okeechobee, this big book that says when you discharge water, where you discharge it to, and what quantities, and why you can do that based upon storms and other things, that has to be rewritten, because again, our coast is getting tortured by this. It took about 5 or 6 years to get this completed, speaking to stakeholders across the region, all areas of the state, and ultimately we got that done, and we got to the point that we didn't get every single thing that I wanted in it, but we got a management plan for Lake Okeechobee, now known as the Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual, that results in less discharges to our coastal estuaries.
We love the water. We are a water-oriented community. We spend the time on the water. That's what makes our lives good here.
The projects are getting done. We've authorized projects through the WRDA bills. We finally got them appropriated. They are going forward. I've been to lots of ribbon cuttings and turning on pumps. And so things are working.
Some of the things that we're working on moving forward to, again, get to the point that we have no discharges into our coastal estuaries. Well, also a few years back, I wrote a law at the federal level saying We need to authorize what's known as the EAA reservoir, the Everglades Agricultural Area Reservoir, a large reservoir south of Lake Okeechobee to hold the water, clean the water, store the water, and ultimately send the water south where it belongs, down into the Florida Everglades, ultimately down into Florida Bay. We passed that a while ago. Now we're working on getting that reservoir completed. We're also working on northern storage north of Lake Okeechobee, something that we call NERP. So there's a number of different places that we are working to get to that point in the future where ultimately no discharges out of Lake Okeechobee into our coast.